The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
I'm so angry. Nobody disrespects Haman, the king's top official, the way Mordecai has disrespected me. By the king's own command, he told everybody to bow down and to reverence my presence. Who does this Jew think he is? I must devise a plan, a scheme, to have him and every single Jew executed. But when will I do so? In the 12th month, I will approach the king. Oh, your highness, there's been something that has been sitting on my mind for months now. You see, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in the provinces of your kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people. They do not keep your laws, and therefore it is not for your profit to deal with them. If it pleases the king, let it be written that they may all be destroyed. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work to bring it into the king's treasury.
Hold on, what do you mean they're not following our rules? Look at all we have done for these people. How ungrateful. You know what, Haman? Here's my ring. The money is yours. Do with these people as you wish. I don't have the time or the patience to deal with this foolishness.
Today we are delving into Esther chapter 3, where tensions rise in the Persian Empire as Haman, the king's advisor, has a devious plot. We are going to explore the dangerous game of power and prejudice that unfolds and witness Queen Esther's pivotal role in the face of impending danger. As always, be blessed and enjoy. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay.
and Earl Roberts. Appreciate everyone for joining again this week, another week. Hopefully everyone had a great week, or, whatever you went through, hopefully, you have a time to relax as it's the weekend, if you're listening to this on the weekend. How's your week been, man?
Pretty busy, but by the grace of God, still improving with my knee. I have very little pain. For my knee to hurt,
Good.
I have to hit it or move it in a very sudden way. You know what I'm saying? To activate some pain. Other than that, doing good, bro. I'm one day at a time, still getting rid of this little limp I got, but I am now jogging
Like
in
a big
place,
swag walk.
straight line. Yeah, I was trying to swag it. When I had my cane, that's when I was a real cat daddy, boy. I was drawing attention with that too. I don't know, I might miss the attention when I boxed up. Being fully abled. But yeah, man, how was your week?
I was telling you before pre-pod, man, this is probably the week I've worked the most in my career. Every night this week, I had to work until 11, trying to get some big projects out the door. But, there are times when you got to bunker out and just get stuff done. And this is one of those weeks. I mean, typically it ain't this busy, even though I know I probably say I had a busy week a lot on the podcast. This week was I look at my timesheet this week and I was like, bro, I never worked this much for someone else in a week in my life.
Man,
You
that's
know, typically if I doing that type of work, I'd rather do it for myself. But you know, just telling someone this week, man, God always puts you in a position where you need to be, not necessarily where you want to be. And so wherever God puts you in life, you gotta like take the lessons from it, learn the lesson that He wants you to go through, and then just grow from it. And eventually God will direct your path to where you gotta be. So that's,
amen.
I guess, the phase I'm in.
Amen to that, brother.
Oh my. So a couple different things I want to talk about before we get into Esther. But one of the things that happened was today that we're recording. So by the time this comes out, it might be like the weekend of the 19th or something, right? But there was like an earthquake today that happened like in New York and New Jersey. And it was like my first ever hearing about an earthquake in New York and New Jersey. I have a bunch of coworkers who live up there, and they was like, bruh, this doesn't happen. And this reminds me of, you know, some of the times of the end when, you know, they say there'll be earthquakes in diverse places. And man, and wars and rumors of wars. Oh, that was in Matthew, right?
Yeah. Is that
Like
Matthew
24?
24? Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was just trying to pull up the verse.
Matthew 24. It's like, I don't know. I'm tired of just quoting the text and getting it wrong, bro.
But yeah, we
Let's see.
both agreed on Matthew 24. Uh, sorry, I got it almost.
Yeah, so it's like, okay. Oh, yeah. So I'm gonna just read some of it until you find
Go
it because
for it.
I don't know if the text. So Matthew 24, verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquake in divers places.
Mercy.
And these are the beginning of sorrows. That's Matthew 24, verse 5 through 7.
Beginnings of sorrows, man. And if you keep going, like thinking like get to like verse, I guess.
Like 24 or something, right?
Yeah, just read it.
Yeah, all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and you shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. Now, I think this kind of the section where we was talking, where we alluding to, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in the winter, neither on the Sabbath day. I want to say something on that a little later. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time. No, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shorted, there should be no flesh, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
Mercy.
Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall arise false Christs, plural, and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that, if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Behold,
Mercy.
I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in the secret chambers, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth unto the west, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For wheresoever the carcass is, There will the eagles be gathered together.
Mercy. Mercy, mercy, mercy.
Matthew
Man,
10.
there's so much on this like text alone, man. But like, I gotta pray for the Holy Spirit right now. It's like so much things I feel like I want to say on this. And it could almost be an episode in itself. But man, like, even if we go from the top, right?
Mhm.
Like earthquakes in diverse places. We literally seen earthquakes in diverse places. Literally about 3 weeks ago, even though none of us felt it, there was actually an earthquake off the coast of Florida. It was
Oh,
only like
wow.
3.5.
That's crazy.
So none of us actually felt it. The one today in Jersey was a 4.8.
Mm.
First report
I
said
don't know
it was
what I'd
5.
do.
Huh?
I don't know what I'd do.
Dude, I was talking to people that it was like, dude, I was on the phone with my boss, right? My associate principal. He lives in Jersey. I was like, what's going on? Bro, his house was shaking. He was like, this is an earthquake. I was like, what you talking about? He's like, no, this is for real, an earthquake. And I was like, bro, that's just wild. That's
Yeah.
just wild.
Yeah, Yana, my wife was supposed to get on a call, right?
Mm-hmm.
She had two other of her coworkers she's supposed to meet up. One that lives on the West Coast, but was just so happened to be on the East Coast. She didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of them was like, hey, I can't get on the call. It's an earthquake, right? And when she told the other one she can't get on the call because it's an earthquake, the other one was like, no, it's an earthquake here. But they didn't realize they were in the same like tri-state area, you know what I'm saying? Like, at the time. But so Yana came running to me because she thought it was an earthquake in Cali and in New York at the same time. Like, you know, I was like, oh man.
Yeah, I was like, Nakhaz, the world's about to end.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
Matt, go for it. You was gonna say something?
No, but so in this chapter, bro, it's a lot. It's a lot of end time prophecy, and this some of this instruction has already came to place because when the Jewish revolt happened in the year 70 AD, so when you see the enemy circling around the city, I don't know if that was this chapter, it might have been Matthew 10, but Jesus gave them a sign to say, when you see the enemy circling around the city, that's the time to go. You know what I'm saying? And so lives were saved during the time of the Jewish revolt because they remembered the teaching of Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
Secondly, when Jesus talks about your flight and exile, right? Let's think about this. Jesus talks about your flight and exile, but he doesn't speak of it in a way that says that he would be around when it happens. This is future tense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he says, pray that this does not happen on the Sabbath day. If Jesus knows that this is going to happen after he dies, why is he concerned about the Sabbath day if the Sabbath day is abolished, it's null and void?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying? Some people could say, oh, that's because the Jews, they were so used to the Sabbath day, they couldn't shake that habit, right? But why didn't Jesus take the opportunity to say, hey, if your flight is on the Sabbath, do not worry, because at that time, you know what I'm saying, we would be under the new covenant XYZ. No, he said, pray that it doesn't happen on the Sabbath day because there are limitations on the Sabbath. Like even in the Jewish customs, it was a day's. It was. I think you could not travel further than 3 miles on the Sabbath. Like there was about a day amount of journey. There was a day's journey that you could travel on the Sabbath. Like it was a limited amount that you could travel on the Sabbath day. Basically, is what I'm saying. So I say all that to say this is just a little hint of Jesus alluding to the Sabbath in the future after he dies. You know what I'm saying? Like when I just feel like when you read the Bible, New Testament, and Old, you're not gonna get the notion that the Sabbath is done. Someone is going to have to teach you that. You know, there are texts in the Bible that you can assume is referring to the Sabbath, but I feel like even that is right. But I feel like even that assumption is circumstantial because we live in a world where people don't observe the Sabbath. And so those who observe the Sabbath, when you read this text, you don't believe that this is about the Sabbath. But those who don't observe the Sabbath, when you read the text, you say, oh, okay, yeah, there is a new day. Romans, I think it's Romans 4. They talk about a new day, and like if Joshua had given them rest, there wouldn't be a new day. Like people interpret that as saying that no, this is not about the Sabbath, or when it goes on that this is about the Sabbath, and then when it goes on to say that Jesus is our rest, people say, oh yeah, that justifies why we don't Sabbath anymore. You understand what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, like, if we apply that logic, bro, if Jesus is our rest, because the Bible says he's our rest, that means we don't have to Sabbath no more, right? But the Sabbath was a physical rest that you have. So basically you saying, hey, Jesus gives us rest, right? So we don't have to take a day to rest, but you still actually have to go to sleep at some point in time. You still have to take vacation at some point in time. If Jesus was our rest, and this meant that Jesus was our rest, then why don't we just stop resting altogether? That's number one. Number two, Jesus also says that he's the gate.
Mhm.
He's the door.
Yep.
Earl, if Jesus is your door, why do you have a door in your house, bro?
Mercy.
Why you don't just let all the mosquitoes come inside since Jesus is the door? Jesus says that I am the bread of
Mhm.
life, right? If Jesus is the bread, why we gotta eat? We should not have to eat no more, bro. And this sounds stupid, bro. And I'm not trying to make fun of this argument, but I'm just saying, if I apply this argument every time and Jesus personifies himself as something else, right? Or every time Jesus uses himself as a metaphor, then I should be able to apply this all through, because y'all saying the Sabbath is no longer valid because Jesus is our Sabbath, right? Jesus is my bread. You see what I'm saying? Jesus is my way. I don't need a GPS. You see what I'm saying? Some of these things aren't practical. You know what I'm saying? We still have basic human needs that get occupied. You know? It is what it is.
I definitely agree. Something else I want to talk about in this passage is two other things, right? First one being in verse 22, those days are not being cut short, no one would survive, but for the sake of the very elect, those days will be shortened.
Amen.
This from a different version, not this from that was from the NIV, right? But essentially, it's funny, a lot of people say, "Oh, time just don't feel like it lasting as long anymore." Hey, we getting closer to them last days. We see a lot of the signs, and then the next thing that's happening too, right? I know Kazi talk about like the Project 2025 that's happening in America, right? But other places in the world, you have other religious sects that are not Christian, and even some Christians, ironically. There's a lot of talk right now on social media, and even a different Bible podcast, a biblical podcast, religious podcast about this red heifer prophecy that's happening, right? And for quick synopsis, I don't want to butcher it. Definitely do your own research and your own stuff on this right now, because I honestly wasn't prepared to talk about this today. But like a very condensed version is the Jews want the temple to be rebuilt. The actual religious practicing Jews who actually live in Israel, who right now may or may not be in a conflict with, not even may or may not be, they're in a conflict with Hamas and some of the Palestinian people, right? But they want the temple to be rebuilt. One problem is that the temple is currently the Temple Mount of Solomon's Mount, the Temple Mount, Dome of the Rock is a mosque, Al-Aqsa Mosque. It is a Muslim mosque. It is an Islamic mosque. So that's like right now there's a lot of tension. There's always been a lot of tension over this place right now because it's the third holiest site in Islam. Because for those who are semi-familiar with Islam or heard, that was the place where Muhammad journeyed on his night ride from Mecca to Jerusalem to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. So that's why it's like the third holy site in Muslim, but it's the most religious site for Jews. But either way, so Jews, naturally, the big difference, well, one of the differences between Jews and Christians are, we believe that Jesus is the Messiah. We believe that Jesus is the fulfillment of the Old Testament, and we believe in the New Testament. Jews do not. So to Jews, the Messiah has not yet come. Right? So they believe the Messiah has not yet come. So they want to rebuild their temple. And one of the ways that goes through a purification ritual that's found in Numbers. And essentially say you have to sacrifice a red heifer, a red cow. And so now we see there being reports that there's, go for it.
Numbers 19.
Thank you. So Numbers 19. So now there's reports of red cows, some red heifers, a guy in Texas literally genetically grew red heifers, essentially like breed them so they become red. He shipped those to Israel. So it was
that's where they came from?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because red cows are actually pretty fine.
Didn't know. They look beautiful though.
Yeah. So red cows
they look beautiful, bro. I was like,
ain't common. So
I was like, man, I want a pet red heifer, bro. Like,
Okay.
You got me
It could
feeling
be taken out of
like Ace
context.
Ventura Pet Detective or something.
So yeah, so like now they have these heifers in Israel. So now there's a lot of tension, right? But the interesting thing is like Jews want the Messiah to come. And ironically, some Christians are backing them because they want the Messiah to come back, thinking these are going to be the same two people. Now, we have multiple places in the Bible where you have a figure that's coming back. And we see even here in Matthew, they say, if someone says, look, the Messiah, the Son of Man is here, don't look. If he's in the secret chambers, don't go. Like, long story short, the world is preparing for a savior to return, right? Some people are honestly waiting for the Messiah to come back, and some people are waiting for a Messiah to come back.
That's true.
And so don't be deceived thinking your Messiah is someone else's Messiah. Don't be fooled to thinking your God is someone else's God. Right now, there's a lot of teaching saying that we all serve the same God. I literally heard someone this week try to break down to me, saying that, oh, Father, forgive me. I don't want to sound blasphemous or anyway, I don't even. Someone was trying to tell me, like, bro, Hinduism and Christianity almost the same. And I was like, they was like, yeah, you guys have your Trinity, and we have all our gods that are just in like manifestations of one God, Brahma. And I say, bro,
that is
we're really about to have this conversation right now.
If you remove the microscope and you go from like a, I don't know, from like a star celestial level and look at that from a very far away view, you could say you can find similarities, bro. But when you come down to earth and you look at these, bro, that's probably the worst one to say.
It was a very interesting discussion, right? And this is why I tell some people, like, man, once your faith gets strong enough, or once you even do your own research, like, know enough about the other religions, because there's deceptions, massive deceptions that other people in other religions could tell you. Because again, if you know anything about the Hindu religion, I took a class on world religions in college, and because, you know, I kind of fascinated by history and this kind of stuff too, right? So I do research on different things. Anyway, if you look at Hinduism, they actually have a Christ-like character that they're actually waiting on coming back.
To return, yeah.
On a white horse. Mm-hmm. Some of the same language and vision and visuals that you would see of Jesus coming back in the last, like in the end of the last days or whatever, right? But I'm like, just because it's similar does not mean it's the same. You have a lot of teachings out here nowadays trying to say that, we all worship the same God. And that is blatantly false, because if we all worship the same God, what did Christ die for? Why did he say he is the way? Like Kaz said earlier, he said he is the door. What purpose did Christ have to die if there was going to be multiple ways to get access to him? So you need to stop and start thinking about these things. Sorry, go for it.
No, but the similarity thing is deceptive though, because
agreed.
You can find, bro, it's like similarities, bro. If I was to describe to you a human being, right? And I want you to know exactly who I'm talking about. And I say, bro, he has two eyes, bro. He has a nose, he has a mouth. You see what I'm saying? Like the similarities, yes. But when you look at me and you look at Earl, we are two different people. You understand what I'm saying? Like we have two different descriptions. We like different things, we dislike different things. So now, okay, this isn't a debate on the similarities between, but one of the biggest things that stick out to me in terms of the Hindu faith are the idols. They have idols. They worship idols. They worship graven images, stuff like that. That's a cultural part of their religion, and that is a commandment that we should not do. Like in the commandments. So it's like, is it the same God? If your God says, hey, don't do this, but your God says, this is what we do, can they be the same God? You understand what I'm saying? Especially if we hold the faith that our God is infallible. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Our God is perfect. He changes not. And he says, don't do this. How can they be the same? That's why when I have conversations with my friends who they are fascinated by Islam, I say, bro, it's cool that we both Abrahamic religions, you know what I'm saying? But you all do not believe that my God that I worship, that I pray to, died for our sins. You understand what I'm saying? You don't even believe he died in the way that he died. My God said he come here to die. Like Jesus came here to die. Like God the Father says that he will put enmity between the seed of the woman and the seed of the serpent. You shall crush his head and he will bite your heel and you will bite his heel situation. That prophecy was fulfilled in our account, but in your account it was not. He came for a different reason. Can this be the same person? It cannot be, bro. You know what I'm saying? Can it be the same God? It cannot be if we have different objectives, if we have different end time prophecy. You know what I'm saying? And so just is what it is, bro. Like even you listen to Rastafarian faith, bro. They have certain sects of Rastafari where they believe that the Messiah can be broken into two beings. You have the lion and the lamb. The lamb died. That's Jesus, right? But then you have the lion who come into like be a king and set people free. Forgive me, Rastafarians, if y'all listening. I haven't done that much research on it, but I do know that y'all make that distinction. You see what I'm saying? So when you read Revelation and they say the lion and they say the lamb, they thinking it's two different people. They think Selassie is one. They think Jesus is the next one. You understand what I'm saying? We can't worship the same God. Because my God say, but if they say, "Oh, Christ come," bro, no, because my God say when Christ come again, you can hear him from the east to the west like lightning. You see what I'm saying? Like my God, so you know, and I was trying to talk to my friend about this the other day. My friend who was young in the faith.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you know, our imagination's so funny, bro. Like he was saying, bro, don't you think it's possible, bro, that God could have bring Christ many times? You know what I'm saying? Like, are we talking about possible? Or are we talking about God, what God said he was going to do? You say anything is possible, but is it like God or is it unlike God? God does not work in mysterious ways. God tells us the ways that he plans to operate. Mm-hmm. You understand what I'm saying? And so, yeah, man, like verses like this, chapters like this, like, they give us a lot of insight on what to expect from God. And I like this because a lot of times people take the writings of other New Testament authors, and that's where it gets mucky sometimes. But it's like, okay, if it's gray area, I'd rather listen to what Jesus said from the horse's mouth. You know what I'm saying? Like you say this, you say we're gonna see we're gonna see you from lightning. You tell me that there are Christ, plural. Many, you say Christ is like more than one that's going to appear, and people are gonna say they here, they there, they doing great signs and wonders. So I know this ain't something to play with. You know why? Because you ain't tell me go and expose them. You say when you see a false Christ, go and expose them. He didn't say that. Right. He said don't go there, boy.
Don't even go.
Don't go.
Ain't no problem with this too. Because he ain't saying, bro, I don't care how prayed up you is. I don't care how much faith you think you got. Don't even go. Because if you go there, you would, you know, funny thing about it. I always think if you go there, you can start sowing doubts in your own mind and you can start stumbling.
Oh, yeah.
And start believing that whatever going on. People be like, but I ain't never seen no one. And I know the funny thing about it, dude, especially in today's day, bro, because like, we ain't used to seeing these. Like back in the day, especially back then, people was practicing magic and thing like it was nobody's business. Mm-hmm. So you might see one supernatural thing. You're like, yeah, okay, I'm doing some weird stuff, but I can mind my business. Yeah. And today, bro, like the dark arts are so hidden. So it just could spook a lot of people, bro. I ain't seen no one call down fire from heaven before. Nope. I ain't seen no one turn no rod into a snake before.
Nope. I never see these type of things, bro. And the funny thing about it is, the devil is such a master deceiver,
right?
That he might know Earl could be skeptical if Earl was to witness a staff turn into a snake. That might not have to do it for Earl, bro. It might have to be. He might hit you with some type of niche thing that only you could be impressed by. Like you see what I'm saying? That would impress you is what I'm saying, you know? Like if he come through levitating, to me, that might scare me. That might make me feel like, but I know, he might be a demon or something, you know what I mean? Like, but I know, but if he come through maybe and he heals somebody, if I see somebody who I know is in agonizing pain, you know what I'm saying? Or like let's say you have a loved one, like a family who was born with like a disorder or something like that, bro. And they healed someone who was in the same situation, and now you feel compassion. You're like, no, well, my cousin could be like that too. You know, you catch what I'm saying? Like,
no, but I get it. Like, the thing about it, and this is where you just got to realize, we don't even know what to expect. Just like how Adam and Eve they knew an enemy was out there. They knew an adversary was out there, but he didn't come in the way they expected.
Exactly.
It's going to be the same thing. It's going to be the same thing for us. It's going to come in a way that people don't expect. Because why would the devil come in a way that everyone expects?
Exactly.
Like, no, like seriously, like whoever listening to this, ask yourself that question. Like, bro, if I'm about to do something stupid, why would I drive my car? You know what I'm saying? Like, is you cannot think you could outsmart the devil. That's just the human cockiness talking.
I agree.
And this is why God say put on the full armor, so you could quench the fiery darts of the wicked, right? And but God never say do it alone. God always say come to me, use me. Come, like you see right here. You say, but don't even go. Don't fool yourself into thinking you can respond about. Bro, and think about it, bro. This could be like, to use a game analogy, bro. This is the final form, bro. This is the final boss. You know you gotta be on point when you go in to face the final boss.
Exactly.
No kinks in your armor.
Exactly. If in terms of like our being is less than angels, bro, and this one greater than angels, what make you think you could match up against that? You know what I mean? Like it'd be like taking candy from a baby for real, like. So.
Right? This man so bad. Wait, you know what is the swings? But you know what's to tell someone by God ain't just and you in God's presence, bro?
That's the thing.
And you ain't convinced just like one person of this, but you convince a third of the heavenly hosts. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you form a resistance.
Like, and you think you a measly human who can't even begin to comprehend God.
Yeah, anyway. then he get to answer him one question for you. You go up there, Earl, and he can tell you where dinosaurs gone, and that might be it for you, bro. That's where they go.
Hey, show me how the pyramids was made.
Exactly. He give you a step-by-step breakdown. Yeah,
I'd be like, oh, well, that makes sense.
Got him. Yeah, but I ain't playing with that, because I know. Even outside of what God say in the book, bro, I know I can fool, bro. Like, I know he could do something, and they could trip me up, They could trip me out, and they could play on my head for days, bro. And I could just be sitting there like, wait, suppose my outlook was just wrong. You know what I mean? Like, suppose I misunderstand. Because a lot of people are deceived. Bro, and I think myself, but suppose I just was deceived, bro.
It is true, bro. And this is why it's so important to like read the Bible for yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, because me and you, both you and I, we listen to another religious commentator, I'd say, right? You know what I'm talking about, right? And some of the stuff you've been saying recently have been like, kind of not accurate, not biblically accurate.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
But here's the thing, right? We know that because we read the Bible for ourselves. And even not, we have like, we could bounce scripture off each other and be like, all right, bro, what about this? Oh, what do you think about this? Oh, I ain't get that from that, right? But we have like a solid source where we can like go to that for, right? Other people don't. And that's why even like on a platform like this that we have, like, I try my best. I know you do too. Like, so I think I can speak for both of us. We try our best to be like biblically accurate as best as we can. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a responsibility, because a lot of people don't read the Bible for themselves. A lot of people are just going to take our word and run for it. So like we'd be like bad stewards of the Bible, bad shepherds, even though like you don't really think of ourselves as that. But like at the end of the day, like God will call us accountable for anyone we lead astray. That's how I see it, right? And it's just important to be prayed up for yourself, because a lot of people are going to take your word and run with it. And a lot of people are going to hear different stuff and run with it. And so like now, if you don't know Matthew, you don't know Revelation, you don't know Daniel, and someone tell you the Messiah come, what you thinking? All right, bro, Messiah back, and he doing miracles, and he doing stuff I never see before, and people actually love him, and the whole world been saying, "Oh, we need something." And guess what? As crazy as this song, the world might be better after he appears for a lot of the population.
Real talk.
And so, how will you not be deceived? You see what God was saying here, bro? Go to the mountains, bro. Don't stay in civilization. You gotta take almost. And I know we gotta get to Esther at some point, right? But you really gotta understand what's happening. He telling us, bro, don't stay in the city. Go to the mountains. Leave civilization.
And don't even waste time, bro. Just go. Just go.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
So you gotta really pick up on what Jesus was saying here, bro. Like, so, man, it's gonna be interesting times. It's gonna be interesting times. And the funny thing about it, some of these things are gonna start happening more rapidly and more quicker than you even imagine.
Bro, because you see, they had an earthquake in New York, and it was like an interesting fact. But did it prompt anyone to do anything? Like, did it prompt anyone to say, "But let me read Revelation just to brush up on"? You know, you see what I'm saying? Like, let me understand a little more to prepare. Like I started doing that again the past week and a half. I can't remember. Oh, when I start studying, like when I started learning a little more about Project 2025, it led me to actually read Daniel and Revelation.
Honestly, I was even thinking like after Esther. I mean, because honestly, at this point, all these books.
When will we? Hey, Jesus might come before we finish the Bible. You know.
That's what I said. I also was thinking about like just talking, you know, thinking about let's just jump to Daniel, bro. It's such an important book, especially for what happening nowadays. And ironically, it's only 12 chapters, but there's so much in them 12 chapters. Like, just to be like, bro, we get Daniel out the way. As much as I love Joel.
Yeah.
As much as I love Joel. Yeah. I'm like, well, we might just need to tackle Daniel, bro, because there's a lot of things in that book that we need to break down for people, just to at least have it on record. And we always could revisit it at some point in time, but I'm like, bro, we should probably do Daniel next.
Yeah, we could do Daniel next because, I mean, in terms of history, right now, we in the Persian, so Daniel would have already been done.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Daniel ended with Xerxes, right?
He ended with the first Persian king.
Oh,
Cyrus or Darius? Darius the Mede?
Darius the Mede. Okay. Anyway, we get on a tangent. But yeah, no, I definitely agree, bro.
But yeah,
there's a lot to be said on this topic, and it could go all over. You know what I'm saying? But by the grace of God, I feel like it's important to try to learn about Daniel in Revelation. Like Jesus said, when you see the abomination that causes desolation, what does that mean? What does that mean? These are some deep words. You see what I'm saying? But he referenced the book of Daniel. As spoken in the book of Daniel.
And he said, but let the reader understand. And the funny thing about Daniel too, that's them those same kind of words in the book. You have eyes, let them see. Who have eyes, let them hear, bro.
And the thing about it is Daniel didn't even understand some of the visions. He asked for understanding, and the angel was like, yo, when it's time, you know what I mean?
Daniel didn't understand. Your boy think Gabriel to come back then.
Yeah, he was distraught. He was sad, like, boy, that perturbed him, what he was seeing. But no, I feel you. But I say all that to say, they say I was in the days of Noah, right? They was eating and drinking, you know what I'm saying? Up until the flood, like Noah was already in the ark a whole week. You know what I'm saying? People was going about this there every day. Like same thing with Lot.
Business, bro.
First thing in the morning, Lot done already. These people already had a wild night. They done get blind, all these things. It's the morning time now, the day about to start, and fire and brimstone start raining. You just see it coming. You see what I'm saying? Like these things, like you want it to be some type of structure. Like, okay, yeah, after this happened, all right, this guy happened. Like the pandemic, right? The pandemic hit us quick. The pandemic hit us quick. But the pandemic lasts so long, we could have make adjustments while in the pandemic. You see what I'm saying? Okay, now we gotta work from home, or we gotta work out at home. We start doing our own hair. Like, so we had, if the world was to shut down like a couple of years after the pandemic, some of us would have been more prepared because we had like a probationary period, it would seem like. However, God is saying, like, when you see these natural disasters and these wars and stuff like that, that's your sign. You know what I mean?
Well, that's your sign. Mercy. Mercy. All right. So Back to our regular scheduled program. We are in the book of Esther. And I had so much other stuff pulled up.
Chapter 3, aka Hadassah, for those
Who
who do not
don't?
know.
Break
The
down a recap for us while I
Yeah,
get
last episode
situated.
we discovered that this young lady who the book is about, the protagonist of the story, her name was actually Hadassah, but her Persian name, Esther, is the name that we all know her by, and the name that the book is named after, obviously, and what they're gonna call her for the rest of the story. So, as a recap, in chapter 1, the king was married to Queen Vashti. They were at a banquet. He wanted to invite her to his banquet. I'm sorry, there are two separate banquets. He wanted to invite her to his banquet to show off her beauty, but she refused. This embarrassed the king. His nobles convinced him to fire her or divorce her or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like she would not be queen anymore, to find another queen, basically. So now in chapter 2, the decree is issued out. So all of the ladies from all of the land, they enter this somewhat of a pageant to win the king's affection, to see who's going to be the new queen. So let's think Miss Universe, the Persian edition or whatever. And the king takes a liking to Queen Esther. So the entire period, the entire process took about a year, to beautify the women, to make sure that there wasn't any buns in the oven or anything like that, just to prepare them for their one chance with the king.
Mm-hmm.
And Esther did a great job. You know what I'm saying? Everybody that saw her wanted to look at her. You know what I'm saying? And the king took a liking to her. So did we establish that she became queen in chapter 2? Okay, yeah. So now Esther, who is a Jew, not a Persian, is officially the queen of the Medes and the Persians. Yeah, Medes and the Persians.
Yep, and then like how last chapter ended too. Mordecai, uncle, well, cousin. Who was it again? Cousin. Cousin, correct. Yeah, a cousin discovered a plot by two of the king's like elders, and he told Esther, and Esther told the king, and the queen, and the king got them hanged, and like was happy.
Yeah.
And so chapter 3 starts off with, after these things, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hamadatha the Agagite. And for those who don't remember or kind of forget the story, Agagites historically apparently came from the descendant of King of Amalek, who was Agag. Agag, I remember Saul was supposed to kill him, but Saul didn't kill him. Saul let him live, and then this prophet Samuel had to kill him. But apparently he still had some children. I remember these people were like sworn enemies of the Israelite people. And wasn't even Joshua supposed to go there and kill all of them again?
Yeah, they were supposed to. And well, Joshua was before Saul. So by the time we get to Saul, Saul was actually supposed to. Saul was supposed to finish the job.
Yeah.
And he spared some. But
Mm-hmm.
now this is the interesting thing with the Bible. The prophet Samuel killed all that was spared. But then when Saul was about to die, it was an Amalekite who allegedly witnessed Saul's death and or killed Saul. You know what I'm saying? And he come to David saying, yo, man, Saul tell me kill him. And, it is what it is. So we see where they were supposed to be eliminated multiple times. And one time he thought they was eliminated. And even now, we still see trace of civilization after the fact. And a lot of this is because people speculate that when the Bible says eliminate, it's hyperbolic, and it kind of alludes to eliminating all of the active soldiers or warriors during that time, but not actually genocide. It's up for debate. I haven't done enough research on it, but just something to ponder on.
Yeah, that'll be a good research topic. Continuing in verse 1. So he promoted Haman and advanced him and set his seat above all the princes who were with him. And all the king's servants who were within the king's gate bowed and paid homage to Haman. For so the king had commanded concerning him, but Mordecai would not bow or pay homage. Then the king's servants who were within the king's gate said to Mordecai, why do you transgress the king's command?
Hmm.
Now it happened when they spoke to him daily and he would not listen to them, that they told it to Haman to see whether Mordecai's words would stand. For Mordecai had told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow or pay homage, Haman was filled with wrath.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, something that's interesting, right? We saw last chapter that Mordecai was adamant to Esther and told Esther to not tell anyone who you are.
Yep.
Right? But this Earl talking now, right? I almost feel he told her, don't tell anyone who you are until the time is right.
Okay.
But don't forget who you are. Right? Mm-hmm. But here we see something that came against Mordecai's beliefs.
Yes.
Wow. Again, we know God isn't mentioned directly in this book. But now this is a man who wants me to bow to him and pay homage to him. Mm-hmm. I am a Jew. I am not doing that to any mortal man. I'm only doing that to God, bowing down and essentially worshiping God. I'm not doing that to you. You ain't even the king. You're just someone who hyped up on power right now.
Yes. So the interesting thing about that is, right?
Go for it.
Haman had been in such a prime position that he elevated himself above everyone else but the king, and the king co-signed it. So we see where it is in verse 2, and the king's servants who were with him, and the king's servants who were with him within the king's gate bowed and paid homage to Haman, for so the king had commanded concerning him. So Haman had received such favor in the eyes of the king that the king was like, yo, y'all gotta bow to this man. You know what I'm saying? Like he next, I ain't gonna say next up, but he is deserving of this homage, you know? But Mordecai, who sees this, and he knows that this is worship. You know what I'm saying? He knows that this is against his religion, you know?
I really wonder though, and this just for speculation purposes, right? And just for conversation, right? Because we know Mordecai he was dealing with who, Benjamin, right?
Yeah.
You know, the Benjaminites, they little fight, they little like fight too. Suppose, I just saying, right? Because
rebellious.
We have a couple instances in the Bible, other people bowing down to men.
Yes.
Like Abraham did bow before.
Yes. I'm sure Joseph did. That's my assumption.
Yeah.
I'm sure David did to Saul, but
exactly.
Assumption too.
So yeah. I'm like, and even Moses did like bow down and kiss his father-in-law and everything like that. So I'm like, maybe it's the homage part.
I think it's the connotation, because this is so. Remember, if we had went through Daniel, I think
exactly.
our mindset would have been a little different. Yeah. I think our mindset would have been a little different, just to give people a better understanding. There were a few decrees issued in the book of Daniel concerning the Babylonian Empire, when they wanted you to bow, but they wanted you to worship. You understand? They wanted you to worship an idol. Then it came to a point where they wanted to worship Nebuchadnezzar himself. You see what I'm saying? So I think that was the precedent, and the Jews were there for all of this, you know?
Exactly.
And so I think Haman, he does not separate the two. And I think Mordecai does not separate the two. And I think Haman wants to be worshipped straight up. Like, I think Haman probably likens himself to be a god.
But and the next thing about it, right? Haman didn't even realize that Mordecai wasn't bowing down at first.
No.
Until some talking to people who want, be curry favorites.
Yeah.
They want dry snitch and go to Haman and say, hey, Mordecai ain't bowing down to you.
See, but that's the thing. So they're the servants of the king, right? So the way I understand the text is, wait, hold on. For him to bow down, that means Haman would have to be in the vicinity.
Exactly.
Because you can just bow down to him just telepathically. You know what I mean? Like, Haman's somewhere, let me bow.
Remember, like, your boy was on,
Mordecai was like on the king's gate or somewhere. So he might have been elevated. You know, every time they come across, they're supposed to bow, even though you're in the vicinity, but you might not even be there directly. You're just supposed to like bow for like the reverence of it.
Yeah. So the servants witness him not bowing, but Haman don't even know.
That's how it seemed at first. And then now Haman didn't know, but now now that you bring it to my attention, I can be on the lookout for this. Now I almost see Haman going out his way now to make sure he run into Mordecai to see if what these people tell me is true.
Do you think the Bible specifically notifies us that he's an Agagite for context, or do you think that's just a descriptor of his?
I think it might have been for context.
Yeah.
Because it kind of show that they're still enemy of God's people.
Yeah, because, in Scotland, they have two families. I think the Millers and the, I don't want to misquote, but it's a group of, like, it's two groups, like two families that have a historic rivalry. You see what I'm saying? Like, between each other, And so it could be like that too. So we know the Amalekites, we had feud in the past, the Amalekites and the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? And, I don't know what the score is. Who
Joke's on you. We both got conquered.
Facts. We both got conquered, and now I am in a higher position. So you're gonna respect me. You can respect me. You can bow down to me straight up. Like, you of all people, I could see if I believe it might have been different if this was a Persian not bowing down, but an immigrant, especially a Jew.
A Jew?
Mm-mm.
Oh, dare you disrespect me? That's what Haman was saying.
Yeah, I think that's probably his thought process.
So we see this fill Haman with wrath. So now in verse 6. But he disdained to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had told him of the people of Mordecai. Instead, Haman sought to destroy all the Jews who were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, the people of Mordecai. And to go back to Ghazi's point, this is why the Bible had to set the stage on who Haman truly was. Because now we see there's one thing. Just think about it. Suppose all these other Jews wasn't as devout as Mordecai, and they was bowing down.
Yeah.
They ain't do nothing to you, bro. But your anger and your hate so strong. Not just for Mordecai, and we've seen it now, it's like for these group of people. And now you're in a position of power. And now you're saying, "Babe, all right, I can fix your business." As we so say in the islands, right? I can fix your business. All right, watch. I ain't just worried about you. I could deal with all of y'all. I could do what my ancestors couldn't do back then.
That's interesting.
Because it's like, why you? Because that ain't one person, but there's one person wrong you, but you say, "Babe,
I'm killing everyone."
by the whole nation.
That is very extreme. That's very extreme, because it's like he say, and this is what I don't get. You wanted to put hands on this man, but you didn't, because you know who his people was. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you then try to kill all of them at once? Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, you intimidated by them or not? Because if you hate them, why you didn't just put hands on them? Because you don't like these people. You see what I'm saying? But Mordecai, and these are the type of shows I like to watch. Like, when you get a kingdom or something, right? People just play political games. You see what I'm saying? Haman, not Mordecai, Haman.
Mm-hmm.
Haman said, "But I won't put my hands on them, but that might cause a war." Because there might also be a good amount of Jews who also do not believe in bowing because it's their custom. And that might end wrong. But instead, I could try to destroy them. But he ain't saying I destroy them one by one and I destroy them by physically harming them. But he going to try to do it a political way,
Exactly. So now we see in verse 7, in the first month, which is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus. So now, if we just keep in score, right? Well, not score, but timeline track. Last chapter, we was in the 7th year of Ahasuerus. So now we know between chapters 2 and 3 is 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any real significant value of it, but I'm just saying, like,
Time is moving in these as we turn these pages.
Yep.
They cast Per, that is the lot, before Haman to determine the day and the month until it fell on the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. Then Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of your kingdom. Their laws are different from all the others, from all the other peoples, and they do not keep the king's laws. Therefore, it is not fitting for the king to let them remain. If it pleases the king, let a decree be written that they be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver into the hands of those who do the work, to bring it to the king's treasuries.
Now, look how calculated this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the first month. So let's make it applicable to our day and age. January, you make this decision. And boy, I don't like Nakhaz, and all these behemoths gotta go. And you cast a lot on the best time to put this plan into action, and it's say December. You practically had to wait a whole year just planning this before you put this into action. You see what I'm saying? So like I'm trying to paint the picture that this was a calculated effort to destroy the people. You had 12 months from January to December. That's a year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, this man Haman, he really calculated. That's what I would say.
And here's the next thing, right? This is the Persian Empire, bro. Persian Empire conquered the Babylonian Empire.
Mm-hmm.
Haman never said the people he was referring to, which is so interesting, right?
Yeah.
And the reason why I wanted to point that out, right? Like, the Persian Empire conquered a lot of nations and land masses as we know them today.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So we see how was Ahasuerus introduced? His kingdom stretched from India all the way to where?
Was it Ethiopia?
To Ethiopia. So just picture Africa, the entire Middle East, wrapping around down to India. That's the Persian Empire. So which people are you referring to, my friend?
Boy,
There's a lot of different people who don't have the same customs.
that's true.
Actually, wanted to go for it.
And think about it, right? We have planes now. So you could go from Ethiopia to Iran or wherever in a day. You see what I'm saying? A couple hours, quick thing. You go to India, that could take you months, bro. That could take you weeks, I don't know, months, just because you got to walk. You know what I'm saying? You got to camels, stuff like that. So if this year 12-year reign, how much time did you spend in each province, if any? You can't spend time in every province. You know what I'm saying? No, you're not going to do that. It's only so much time you have in a year, bro. And you can't spend all that traveling. And then when you're traveling, you can't just up and leave, go back. You know what I'm saying? And traveling, then you had to get enough water. You needed food to last and all type of thing with traveling. So it's possible that it could have been nations in Egypt or Ethiopia he wasn't even familiar with, you know what I'm saying? Like in that region, you know what I'm saying? And places like where, I don't know, like where Qatar is and things like that, like that might have been a set of people's, you know what I'm saying? Like how could you keep up with every single one back then? They ain't had the internet. You see what I'm saying? They barely had books like that. You see what I'm saying? Like they didn't have a printing press is what I'm saying, you know? So,
but yeah, then this is a valid point, man, because now Haman just keeping it vague, and the king just is like, oh, they ain't worshiping me, like they ain't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Yeah, sure. So in verse 10, so the king took his signet ring from his hand and gave it to Haman. And again, for people who know, the ring is a symbol of authority. If the king stamped something back then, he put his signet ring stamp on it, and you know this was the decree from the king.
Yeah, it's almost like having their personal signature.
Exactly. And gave it to Haman, the son of Hamadatha the Agathite, the enemy of the Jews. And we see they just spelling it out pretty plainly here. He's the enemy of the Jews. And the king said to Haman, the money and the people are given to you. Do with them as seems good to you. And in verse 12, and then the king's scribes were called on the 13th day of the first month, and a decree was written according to all that Haman commanded, to the king's satraps, to the governors who were over each province, to the officials and to the people, to every province according to its script, and to every people in their language. And the name of the king Ahasuerus was written, and it was sealed with the king's signet ring. And the letters were sent to by couriers into all the king's provinces to destroy and kill and annihilate all the Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month, which is Adar, and to plunder their possessions. And so now you kept it vague when you was talking to the king, but now the fullness of your evilness is being shown now. You're saying, all right, here is the people I'm going to identify. Here's the date, and here's what we're going to do. Just evil.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. So like he have it all planned out. This the political way, this like the organized crime type situation. You know what I'm saying? I can get the king to back me. You see what I'm saying? This is my way of killing all y'all. I don't gotta get my hands dirty. And this is an effective way to do so.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Only one problem. You don't understand the God, that the Jews serve. And then guess what? In terms of prophecy, it couldn't happen. You couldn't wipe out. You get what I said? Like
Exactly.
You couldn't wipe out the entire generation of the Jews. You know what I'm saying? If that would make God a liar, there was the prophecy that needed to be fulfilled.
See, he didn't know that. He wasn't a part of the elect.
Yeah, he didn't know.
He didn't study Daniel.
He didn't know. He didn't read. He didn't know about the abomination that causes desolation. That's funny.
Boy. So, in position now in verse 14. A copy of the document was to be issued as law in every province, being issued for all people that they should be ready for that day. The couriers went out, hastened by the king's command, and the decree was proclaimed in Shushan the citadel. So the king and Haman sat down for a drink, but the city of Shushan was perplexed. They were in confusion. So now again, we see the king go for it.
This king a little interesting, bro.
This king like to drink.
Love to drink. But this king, we seen a few times when he ain't even really had no say. He just signing a paper and going on his way. You know what I mean?
This man was trying to conquer. He was trying to conquer Greece.
He had Greece. He had his hands full of grease.
Boy, they was giving him a hard time, boy. This man was worrying about Greece.
I believe it.
And that's a funny thing, right? Because if you study like some of the Caesars, some of the Roman emperors.
Mm-hmm.
All of them were so consumed with war, bro. They was like, okay, what's ever happening in Rome, bro. I'm out here trying to fight whoever these people is on like these dramatic tribes way out here on the fringes of the empire.
Yeah.
An emperor died way out here. Now is people running back to Rome trying to say who could be the next emperor.
Mm-hmm. All
So
right, that's something, boy.
They has to be full, man. So this is what he said by the day to day. Hey, y'all done conquered and y'all done under me. Just govern yourselves accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
And we see he had a whole system set up where I have governors, I have people in charge of this province. Y'all handle that.
Yeah, we could see Haman work his way up the ranks, however he did it. You know what I mean? And he know the game. He know how to do this politically. You see what I'm saying? And get what he wanted. And it's all because Mordecai does not want to bow down to Haman because of his religion. So interesting. And that's why Daniel, I hate to make it about Daniel a little bit, but that's why Daniel is such a pivotal intro to Revelation. You see what I'm saying? Because in Revelation, they talk about, all those who won't bow down to the beast. You see what I'm saying? So they persecute, those who have the seal of God who won't bow down. And it's like, we can see in nations where you get so not money hungry, but power hungry to the point where power and dominion over you ain't enough. I need you to worship me. You see what I'm saying? Like it gets to that level. In in kingdoms and stuff like that. And like even let's think about the King of England, right? Like so many things you have to say just to basically just to brown nose. You see what I'm saying? Long live the king live forever. You see what I'm saying? Like your majesty, your highness, like you got to say all these things, bro. Like before you even get to say hi, you know what I mean? Like
I wouldn't be a good British subject.
How do you?
I wouldn't be a good British subject.
My mind said I wouldn't. Wait, but after a day of that, you can get me for a day. After a day of that, I'm like, wait, hi, you know what I mean? I ain't really into all that now, bro. I mean, true, at the end, that's serious still. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, there's text in the Bible that say like, respect the king and things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are. There definitely are.
Yeah.
Definitely are. I know Second Peter say, still like honor the king and stuff like that. Like honor God, but still honor your rulers or whatever. So
right, but the king is being a little liking
doing too much.
Yeah, doing too much.
Doing too much.
Yeah, like
I see where that was going.
Yeah. But anyway, right? So long story short though, it gets to a point where it's like you become insatiable, right? You start to act like a beast, like you unfulfilled. You know what I'm saying? I'm not happy with y'all just listening to me. I want y'all to worship me. You see what I'm saying? Like I even hear rappers liking themselves to God all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't the best. It ain't enough to just say I'm the best. They want to say I'm the God. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it gets to that point. And so we see Haman so power hungry. He got to the point where, but y'all really like, but y'all like not even my subjects, y'all like my creations. You know what I mean? Like, bro, like when y'all see me, bow down to me, bro. That's the level of respect I want. You see what I'm saying? But, Mordecai and his values, he have that level of respect only for God. And now what happens? They want to take away his life and all those who subscribe to that line of thinking. They want to kill them. You see what I'm saying? For worshiping God. So we have a situation where in this book, they don't directly say God. They don't directly say God. When we think about the time to come, right? Paul says all those who live, I think godly lives in Christ Jesus will suffer persecution, right? And it's like, bro, it's not uncommon. It's not uncommon for the world to want to kill you for worshiping God. You see what I'm saying? Or for not conforming to what the world wants you to do or what wants you to worship. We have so many denominations, so many way of thinking within the Christian church, and a lot of them have differences of opinion. You know what I'm saying? Like you have like, Latter-day Saints, you know what I'm saying? You have Jehovah's Witness, you know what I'm saying? You have some certain quote unquote Christian denominations that they have the leader of their faith as the intercessor to even get to Jesus. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like all of us can't be true. Someone have to be false. And I'll tell you, the vast majority is false. You see what I'm saying? And so you being the one to stand out, people gonna point you out to be the oddball. You see what I'm saying? Like when you want to stand tall for God, stand tall and, not worship the things of the world or the traditions of the world, it's gonna come with scrutiny. And now in the literal sense, we can see that is what Mordecai and the Jews are going through. Despite the king's command, Mordecai refused to bow down to Haman. And this greatly infuriated Haman, to the point that Haman devised a plan to have all Jews executed. Something must be done to stop this decree. And let's just say the Jews have friends in high places. But we'll talk more about that on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.